Today I'm not going to be showing you one watch. I'm going to be showing you two watches. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches. And yes, I'm showing you two watches from one brand. This brand reached out to me recently and I had not heard of them. Which doesn't surprise me, there's lots of brands that I have not heard of, but they did mention that they sell a range of watches and they have a store on AliExpress. So the first thing I did was jump over to their store to see what they had on offer, and I saw a lot of watches that I thought looked very interesting and very cool. In fact, I like so many of the designs that I actually responded to them saying, hey, could I possibly feature two of your watches? And they very kindly said yes. They sent me these watches. Hence why you would have seen that sponsored icon previously at the start of this video, and I'm going to leave a link to the specific store that these watches came from. And I want to show you these two watches at the same time for a couple of reasons. Firstly, just to show you the designs that they have available, but also the sort of quality of them and whether or not they're actually worth sort of considering. So I'm going to flip the camera around now and I'm going to show you two different designs from the one company. Now, I admit when this brand did reach out to me, I had a look on their website and I saw quite a few watches that I thought looked really cool and really interesting. One of which I don't know which one it is one that I thought, oh, I'd like to have that, I'd like to wear that. The other one just had a feature about it that I've never experienced before. And although I'm not specifically drawn to the design and don't particularly want to own it and have it in my collection longer term, I just wanted to get hands-on with it, especially since it was relatively affordable, and give you guys the option to see it, get a little bit of an experience from it through this video, and hopefully gives us a little bit of an idea of whether or not what they chose to do is something that is viable. Now let's start with this one. This is the one that I actually thought, well, this would be quite a cool design that I wouldn't mind trying on. And this is the S108 3G. Very much a homage of a well-known watch with an integrated bracelet, but something that I hadn't actually owned before, not this design anyway. And I've seen a couple that have been sort of advertised, and I've seen other people review similar ones and say that they actually can be made quite well. So I thought it'd be nice to get hands-on with one. But let's just talk about the basics, because this is the black dial variation, but there are a couple of different other variations. I think there's a white dial, a grey dial, and a green dial, but all of them cost 340 Australian dollars. For that, you're obviously getting the watch that is covered by a sapphire crystal, only 50 meters of water resistance, but they're all powered by the automatic Seiko NH35 movement. But what I actually want to show you and share with you is the things that stood out to me straight away. Firstly, lots of weight. This has got a lot of weight to it. A lot of weight in that bracelet. The bracelet is nice. It is one of those ones that doesn't have a huge amount of curvature because of the style of it. But what that does mean is that it really does sort of curve down nicely and have that really sort of integrated feel to it. Integrated watch, integrated bracelet, a little bit of taper there as well. So that's quite cool. It has a waffle style dial there. And when I look at the macro shots of this one, it's particularly good, particularly impressive. Applied markers, has the hand shape that is a little bit different to what you would expect from this design, which I think is a little bit good. It gives you a slightly different feature to it. It does have the crown sort of feature that you would expect. Strangely enough, it does have a screw down crown, even though it does only have 50 meters of water resistance. But of course, being that Seiko movement, it does have hand winding and hacking. Now, being this sort of design, I'm measuring it straight across, and straight across it is 41 millimeters. Also being this design, the lug to lug is a little bit different to what you would expect, but it's 52.2, but it wears a lot smaller than that because of that downturn and the design of this watch. One of the most impressive things that I've come across in this watch is that it is only 10.9 millimeters tall. And this is containing that Seiko movement, which I didn't think could get down that thin. So that's nice to see. Now, another measurement that doesn't really relate because it is integrated, but it sort of starts at just over 26 and it goes down to all the way down to 18 millimeters. The brushing and the polishing on the bezel, on the case, and on the bracelet is done very well. It is nice and smooth, which is good. There's probably a tiny little remnants of sharp edges. I'm not really sure how to say that. It's smooth, but not perfectly smooth. But I have to say, a lot better than the majority of affordable watches that I've come across, even some micro brands. It does have that butterfly clasp with that little over-the-top etching there, or over-the-top little clasp section there, which does have the logo on it. It is a nice butterfly clasp. The case back of the watch looks great. It's screw on, not screw down. And it also has a customized rotor, which is nice. It is actually quite a surprising watch. It's surprising from the fact of the quality of it that it feels, all the finishing and polishing and the differences in the case and the bracelet. The clasp feels sturdy. There's some design elements that I think they could have easily have skipped and made it a cheaper watch, but they haven't chosen to do that. It is surprisingly thin for the type of watch that it is, and especially featuring that movement, so that is really nice. But as I find with most of these integrated styles, even at a relatively smaller sort of case diameter, it does sit a little bit large. This is it on my 17cm wrist. There hasn't really been any point in me resizing this because it does sit a bit too big for me. Not because the watch is so much too big, it's just this style tends to be a little bit big on me. I then need to see actually quite a smaller sort of size dial or case in order for it integrated to fit me. And out of the two, that's the one from the design that really captured my attention. I think it's a good looking watch, obviously not a particularly original design, but it's been well executed and it's relatively affordable. But this one, well, this one is going to be a bit different. It's not a design that particularly sort of jumps out at me, but I chose it myself because I wanted to see this style of watch with these two sort of variations of materials within the case. Now I'm going to make the assumption that this is not a specifically original design either, but what it is a mixture of sort of a composite material or plastic material in the black through the center of the case as the bezel as well, with the stainless steel above and below. This one has a number of different dial options. This is the silver version, but I think it comes in a black as well. Now these ones also have 50 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal, and a Seiko NH35 with that customized rotor. This one is actually a little bit cheaper than that one, probably because of the strap. These ones come in at 275 Australian dollars. Now I admit I pretty much got it just to see what these two materials next to each other look like and how that works. And it actually works quite well. It's probably not exactly to my taste, but what I do like is how it separates and divides, giving you a different detail, and then how this strap then integrates into that. It sort of flows with that case, which is quite nice. What is quite interesting and what I wasn't expecting was this little push button releases the strap. It's actually a really good mechanism, and I'm just have to look off camera to get it back in again. Works really well. It's not hard to do. Just looking through a camera, it's a little bit difficult. The Sunburst Silver is actually nicer than I expected, and the applied markers, oh, they're really good. So a couple of surprises for me about this one with both the quality, a few of these design elements, having that little button. Yeah, you press the button and out she pops. Not that you'd be swapping this out for much, I don't think, because, well, how many straps have that particular feature? It's another one of those cases that is a bit hard to measure, but this on the angle there is 43.1. 11.9 millimeters tall. Now again, this has an integrated style. On the absolute outside of both of those parts of the case, it is 53.8. That rubber strap is just above 24 millimeters, but then goes all the way down to just above 19 millimeters. The strap is really, really soft and smooth. It's actually quite nice, and it starts quite thick and gets a little bit thinner, which is a nice sort of element because it then designs and sort of integrates into that case. They could have done something very different and very easy there. They've not. They've chosen to integrate it into the case, so that's really nice. And it has a nice branded deployant style clasp with two notches which grab into there, which is nice. Don't always see that. It helps sort of grab onto that strap a little bit more, saves it sort of tearing or something. So it feels very firm. And it is one of those things which has a little lump on the top. So when you push it through, you actually have to pop it through. So you feel very secure that it's going to hold onto that strap. And again, just like that other watch, the case back is finished and put together really nicely with that customized rotor, which is nice. Yeah, some thought and effort has been put into the design of these watches and putting them together. I sort of did think there was the possibility that these would come across as slightly cheaper watches, but that's not the impression that I've got from either of these watches from Enerton. Now, because of that rubber strap, this one does actually fit me a little bit nicer. I think I could probably get away with that, but it still does fit a little bit large. Now, they do have a lot of different variations of watches on their website. These were the two that did stand out to me, partially because I just think that's a cool design and I really wanted to get hands on with that bracelet. This one I just thought was really cool because of the different materials used in the case, but both of them are relatively large. So I would probably sort of recommend these two anyway for people with over 17 centimeter wrists. I have a 17 centimeter wrist, so I think if you're 18 centimeters or above, these would fit you fine. But what does surprise me is just how good they are. So it definitely makes me consider that this is a brand that's worth keeping an eye on. I'll see what else that they come out with and what else is on their sort of web store and what designs that they have available. Thank you very much for watching. Perhaps you'd like to watch a couple of my other videos next.